Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I hope all is well. I hope everything is going well. And if it's not, it's going to get better. Today, we're going to be talking about why it is good to wrap your locks, whether it is the winter, summer, spring, or fall. But mainly, it's really good in the fall and the winter. I have my list over to my left, so I'm going to be glancing over, talking, telling y'all. This is just some stuff that's really going to help. I'm not promoting for people to use wrapping their locks as a crutch, but it did help me in the beginning of my journey. But now I wrap my hair for other reasons that are outside of the discomfort of what my locks look like. Now I wrap them, and the reason has more meaning than what others think. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first reason why it's good to wrap your locks, especially the fall and winter we're talking about, but in general, why it's good sometimes to wrap your locks is because it keeps people from touching your locks. So if your locks are wrapped up, it's really hard for people to gain access to your locks and to them and to the human eye. It just looks like, your hair is wrapped up. They don't know, if they've never met you, what's under there. They just know your hair is wrapped up. So you're able to protect, like, it's crazy that we even have to go to that extent, but it's just a good way to protect your locks from random people coming up and touching your locks. So it is a form of protection to keep people out of just putting their hands through your locks and in your hair. When I was a lot younger, I used to wonder why people with real long locks would always have their locks covered up. And then I realized as I got older and I locked my hair myself, it's really to just protect your locks from being touched by random people because they are put away. So that's the first reason. The second one is it keeps the lint out of your locks. So in the wintertime and in the fall, we like to wear those cute sweaters, those cutesy witsy sweaters. And if your hair has lint or can touch your clothing, which mine can and things like that, we want to preserve our locks from getting lint in them, because once the lint gets deep into your locks, you either have to dye your locks, or some people, they comb out their locks and comb out the lint, like if it's too much. I have videos on preventing lint from being in your locks. Is on all my platforms from TikTok, Instagram to YouTube, but it helps to keep the lint from off your sweaters and stuff off your locks, so that way you're not having to dye your locks or anything like that. It keeps the lint out. So that's the other part. The next thing is it can help you stretch maintenance. So if you're somebody that does retwists and let's say in the summertime, I know people complain about they don't last. I know in the beginning my retwists didn't last that long because my locks were just fairly new. If you're somebody, especially if you don't interlock and you find your retwists don't last, wrapping your locks up, it can help, because if your retwist is not lasting, you can style my locks really look cute like this, y'all. I love wrapping my locks up. I love my locks down, but I love them wrapped up as well. You can wrap your locks up in a cutesy wootsy way. I did 4 ways that I wrap my locks up. So I just dropped that short if you want to look on any of my platforms from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and you can see different ways. You can go on YouTube and find even more ways to wrap your locks up. But it just will help you to stretch maintenance so that you're not having to do it as much, especially if you're someone like me that I don't do maintenance super often anymore because I interlock. So my maintenance lasts a pretty long time. Then, I have another video as well on if you have hair or new growth that grows away from your lock or outside of your lock, just to help you maintain your locks even more and to prevent your locks from marrying together and things like that. So it's really good just for stretching and maintenance, so you don't have to deal with that. But definitely still do your regular wash day and things like that, because I still do that. I just do it less now because the seasons have changed. The next thing is it helps you when you don't know what to do with your hair. Like I told you, weeks, I think it was either 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. I don't remember because time has flown since I've been on my lock journey. The 13th makes 8 months, so I'm so excited about that. When you don't know what to do with your hair, wrapping your hair up is good because, let's say you got to go on a date. Like one of my friends on Instagram, Locs Siren, y'all go follow her. She shows a tutorial on her IG on how to wrap your hair up when it's a date night, and it looks so cute. She doesn't have maintenance. She also stretches her maintenance just like me, and she wraps her locks up, and her locks always look cute wrapped up. So it helps when you don't know what to do with your hair. If you want to do a cute little date night, there's so many different ways you can wrap your locks up. I know people are a big one because, Monique for Society allegedly set the tone and said that wearing bonnets and things like that outside was ghetto. And it's like, If you go look in history books, our ancestors covered their hair and they looked far from ghetto. But I'll get into that point later on in this video. But that's not true. You can take scarves and wrap your locks up and know you're not gonna look ghetto. Like you're not gonna look ghetto at all. Especially there's so many cute ways to rock your locks. So I just want to add that, like, you know, some people they need to go read a history book. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Just go read a history book, because it's far from giving ghetto. Just want to let you know that, but we'll get into that soon. The next thing is it protects your hair from harsh weather. So if you're someone where you live where the heat is kind of harsh and dry in the summertime, you can wrap your locks up. Just be careful, because you know we sweat and stuff in the summertime, and it's between the sweat and our hair, it can start to make our head wraps and stuff like that smell. So like, just be mindful of that. Like in the summertime, I was not wrapping my locks up. I was wearing them down, you know, because I wasn't wearing shirts with like that would cause lint in my locks. But you know, in the winter and fall, it will protect your hair from when that air and that wind starts getting real disrespectful and it gets real cold out, you know, when it snows and things like that. The head wraps protect your hair from the elements in the outdoors. So that's another good reason why it is good to wrap your locks up, especially in the fall and winter time. The next thing is it helps you retain your natural oils. So y'all know me. I think I told y'all a few videos back, I have not oiled. I think I oiled, like, it's been a few months. It's not even, I don't even want to say a few months. Probably like a month or two since I've oiled my scalp, when I had that little incident where my scalp was super itchy and I had to detox my scalp. I have that video on my channel as well, so you can go check that out. But other than that, I don't put oil, like hair oil, the oil that I make on my scalp. It's usually just, I am working with my natural sebum. So when you keep your hair locked up, I mean, I said locked up, child, it's going to be kept locked up for a long time because you're on a lock journey. But when you keep your hair wrapped up, and I noticed this, and I feel like my locks actually stay moisturized longer, because the natural sebum is able to stay in on the ends and keep the moisture on my locks locked in, or my locks locked in, or keep it just there. And so I'm able to retain that moisture, where so my locks aren't getting dried out, they aren't breaking off, any of that, because they're always able to remain moisturized longer. So that's another good reason why it's good to wrap your locks up sometimes, especially in the fall and winter, to keep all of that moisture in, from if you're steaming your locks, hot oil treatments, deep conditioners, whatever you're doing to help with that, whichever way you do moisture. The next thing is it reduces the appearance of frizzy locks. I don't mind and I don't care, but I don't have a lot of frizz. Some people don't like it. I actually love when my locks look a lot older with frizz. But if you're somebody that bothers you, get used to it, because it is a part of the journey, no matter if your hair is wrapped up or you know, not. But I do have frizz, but it's not as much because my locks are wrapped up. So wrapping your locks up helps with just that frizzy looking appearance. If you're somebody that's not what you're going for out here, and you want it to look a little more neat and pristine, you can wrap your locks and it'll be reduced. I wasn't going for reducing the frizz, because I love everything about my locks, including if, you know, there's a frizz, but everybody is different, you know, to each his own. Everybody like to rock their locks differently. The next thing is it prevents breakage. It goes back to the point of, you know, just the natural oils being able to coat your hair and stay in your hair longer, because you have your locks wrapped up. The next thing is it can encourage the matting process. So when I researched, that was something I researched. The other stuff I know for a fact it helps with, but they said it apparently, like, if you wrap your locks up, it encourages the matting and locking process. Again, for me, I didn't really wrap my hair up to get it to lock faster. I explained that in my other video about, you know, what to expect with, I believe it was what to expect when locking your hair, and how, you know, if you have a tightly coiled, tightly curled pattern for your hair, then, you know, your hair is going to lock up faster than somebody that has a loose pattern, or a wavy pattern, or a loosely curled pattern. Your hair is going to lock up faster than theirs, so you don't really need to necessarily do extras. I told y'all I did sea salt for the longest, and I just recently stopped using the sea salt because my like basically my locks are locking the way they're supposed to. I don't need to use it anymore, so I just use water and oils in my spray bottle. But I've read that it encourages the matting and locking process. I don't know how true it is. I know for if you're trying to get your hair to lock faster, bonus tip, using sea salt is good, but I don't necessarily know about that. It could help. I could see that if like, I guess if your hair is wrapped up all the time. I didn't use wrapping my hair up though as a crutch anymore. In the beginning it was for those like 2 weeks that it was doing craziness, but I wasn't using it to help my hair to lock faster, if that makes sense. So there's that. The next thing is, and the last thing is, you will look royal. And this goes back to the point that I was making about if you don't know what to do with your hair. And I told you about like how Monique set the tone for society, that you can't wear bonnets and stuff outside. It's ghetto. It's like, it's got a negative connotation. Like if she really was to do research, or anybody else, like wearing your hair wrapped up, like our ancestors, when they wore their hair wrapped up, it showed a sign of their status and their royalty. It was nothing ghetto about wearing your hair wrapped up. So like people that say that, they people that need to crack a history book open, because we out here looking like our ancestors, like royalty and things like that. So if you wrap your locks up, you're going to look like royalty. You're going to look like how your ancestors looked. And that's a good thing, because we want to look like the lineage of what our ancestors were. Like, we're black, period. Like, you know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing to be black. Black is a beautiful thing, whether our hair and our locks are wrapped up or not. And so don't let anybody make you feel differently about wrapping your locks up, because wrapping your locks up or wearing your hair wrapped up, even if you don't have locks, it is a sign of royalty. You will look royal. You're not going to look ghetto. So I wear my hair wrapped up outside, not because I'm using this as a crutch, but because of that main thing, because of the royalty that's associated with it, everything that's associated with it, with my ancestors as well. Like, I'm in tune with that. I'm not one of those people that worships my ancestors and be like, I'm not into all that. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to wrapping my locks up, you know, it is a sign for me for royalty. I don't look at it as, or frown my face up like, oh, it's ghetto. I look at it as I'm looking like royalty when I walk out the door, you know, because I love my locks being wrapped up. It's a vibe, and whoever don't like it, don't like it. Oh well. If they think it look ghetto, they think it look ghetto, you know. Those are people that need to crack open. I don't want to necessarily say a history book, because the schools don't necessarily put that in there, that is royalty, you know. That everybody listened to Monique and kind of went and ran with it instead of doing their own research. But our ancestors weren't seen as royal. Like, there was that I'm telling you about with royalty is one of the reasons why wrapping your hair up or your locks up is a beautiful thing. And I think that is just really just doing your research when it comes to that, and not just going off of one person that they didn't really read their history thoroughly through to even really know the meaning behind that. When it comes to what to wrap your locks up with, just make sure you're wearing satin or silk. You don't have to buy an expensive head wrap. I talked about it in my video with my new fall and winter changes to my lock routine. You can go to the hair store and get you a $5 scarf and be on your little merrily way and have your locks, you know, popping and not have to spend that much. Or you can go on Grace Alea and buy your head wraps and things like that, or turbans, because she does sell those. I don't know about the head wraps, but I know she definitely sells turbans and satin lined things and silk things. I've gotten quite a few things from her for head wrap gear. There's a few places you can go to. So you just make sure you're using some type of satin or silk. Don't use any cotton, because that's going to dry your locks out and take all the moisture out, and we don't want that. So that's pretty much it. This is my video, y'all. This has been my pointers on wrapping your locks up. I hope you guys try it. Don't use it as a crutch. Wear them locks out, because sometimes I do wear my locks down, but since I like to wear cutesy wootsy sweaters with that can attract a lot of lint to my locks, you'll see my hair wrapped up. But this is my favorite way to right now to wrap my locks up. It's my all-time favorite, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.